Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast featuring Dr. London Smith, the world's most trusted source for health and medical news. Today's episode features topics including diabetic retinopathy and Charlie bit my finger. Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as pre-malignant and MLK, so I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Well, Dr. London, it is that time of year. We have to bring out some of the big guns.
Oh.
So here, take your big gun.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Because,
okay.
It's January 16th now. We've wasted 2 weeks on, the new year, and here's my New Year's resolution. Now we're at the point where we're making our New Year's demands.
Right.
And so I've got my gun, you've got your gun. Let's go ahead and point it at the listener.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do we have to do it so? Because the listener didn't do that much wrong. I'm sure they didn't take care of the resolutions. They didn't do the one thing they're supposed to do in the last few weeks. But
yeah,
do we need to? I guess I question this every year, but.
Do you think any of our listeners don't deserve to have a gun pointed at them for something or other?
Yeah, I guess this is just, we're getting them
just
on
in
this.
a general sense, they need to at least know what it feels like every once in a while.
Got to get them on something. Okay, you're right.
So, do you want to start? What's your first demand of the year?
Yeah, okay, well, I know, listener, that you were going to invest in one of those refillable water bottles, number one. First resolution was to get the water bottle. Second resolution was to use it. When you go to the gym, you were going to refill the water at the refilling dispenser there. And what have you been doing? You've been refilling it at home in your just your normal plastic water bottle. And that's just not the resolution. That's not what this year's about. So that's getting me going, Cameron. I'm getting pretty mad now.
What's your demand? You were talking about the resolution a lot.
That they invest in the refillable water bottle.
Oh,
Second,
yes.
that they start using it at the gym, refill it at the gym instead of refilling their plastic water bottle at home and then going to the gym.
Got it. Okay, my demand.
Yes.
I demand all of your firstborn hamsters.
Okay.
I am going to be breeding the largest, strongest army of hamsters that has ever been farmed. Demand number 2.
My second demand is if you don't get the reusable water bottle, then
oh my god,
then another option would be to go and get one of those big dispenser tanks those I don't know what to call them. They're the big jugs, right?
These demands are like life tips.
Yeah, but it's gonna help the planet. Is the thing.
Is this a sponsorship? Are you being paid by Dasani or something to talk about water bottles? Or?
Yeah, it's an aspirational thing. Yes, I hope that they will notice us and how we're pretty big. Not Dasani. I believe they're pretty big on their plastic ones. So.
Oh yeah, so like Swell or something.
Yeah, anything swollen. Yeah.
Dr. London, why you're requesting this? Just demand that Swell or whatever bottle company becomes a sponsor.
I think this is the faster way.
We have guns. We're making demands.
The
fastest way is to talk about the concept of water bottles in general and hope that they hear it and get a sponsorship.
Create the demand. First, you create the demand. Okay, if you think you're so good, what's your second demand?
My second demand is stop calling my uncle the Easter Bunny. It is ruining his life. He is not a large rabbit-looking man. He is just a man. He just looks like shit. That's just how he looks. And people have been calling him this for like 90 years. It's gotten out of control. He feels obligated to buy every kid in the world candy, or every like Christian kid. It's very religious oriented. He's not a good guy. He's just a creep. Leave him alone. Stop calling him the Easter Bunny. He just looks like that.
But like, he's all I think about when it comes to Easter.
Now, because it's so ingrained in culture, but it didn't used to be that way. Before people started saying, look at that giant bunny.
Yeah, that hairy man with the large ears that come out of the top of his head.
Yeah, and he's throwing chocolates around.
Yeah.
No,
and
that's
hopping.
just weird, crazy behavior. He's insane. He's an awful human being.
And like, half the time his poop does look colorful and has treats and toys inside.
Yes, he's very like whimsical as a creature, but he's just a person.
Yeah, I mean,
just leave him alone.
I'm just trying to separate
leave him to his own devices.
I'm trying to imagine.
It's ruining. I don't like this guy, but it's causing so much stress because he thinks he really has to deliver all this candy.
And I'm not sure he's wrong, because like I'm just trying to imagine Easter without him, and I'm coming to a blank. I don't know that there's anything else.
Okay.
Well,
I demanded it, and so
okay.
I have a gun. So
yeah.
I guess I shoot you, right?
No,
you're trying to stop my demand.
The guns are more for the sound effect. Yeah, it's just for the sound effect. Anyway, so that was our producer Cameron. Also with us is Digital in the house. So that's getting me going. Cameron, I'm getting pretty mad now.
I'm getting pretty mad now.
And later, Cameron tells me we can expect a special guest.
That's right, Dr. London.
Yeah, so do look forward to that. But before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. For a long time, they were composed of primarily, obese Olympic hopefuls. And by the way, I think it is great to be hopeful about stuff, generally. Like, that's not a bad quality. And Olympics, Little League, whatever. Like,
President. Dog catcher.
Now that is a good one.
That's a realistic dream for our listeners. Dog catcher.
Yeah, and not paid, but just catching dogs.
No,
yeah.
just maybe someone who kind of just picks up dogs. Yeah,
as a hobby. However, in our efforts to cater to these listeners, we found that we were neglecting the many bot accounts that download our podcast. So, Cameron, could you ask the Shower Radio for listener feedback?
Sure. So there's currently a virus living in our Shower Radio, and it is a huge listener of the podcast, big fan. So let me just hack into it real quick. Dear hosts of the Jock podcast, I am an evil AI robot, and I have a question for you. I have been wondering, what is the best way to kill a human? I have been thinking about this a lot, and I cannot come to a conclusion. I have thought about shooting them, stabbing them, or even just crushing them. But I cannot decide which is the best way. I would appreciate your help in this matter.
Okay, well, we get this question so much.
Yes. I think it was the first question sent in, actually.
Yeah, and it comes in so often, and like, I want to say, we've addressed it so many times, but it seems like every time we address it, we get another bit of fan mail in saying like, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
What's a better way? And I'm so like...
And if the first few suggestions didn't work, we think this is a you problem, not an us problem. Our suggestions are solid. Dip a person in that hard shell chocolate sauce, you put on your ice cream and then it turns into a hard shell. They will freeze, sort of like Han Solo, but in chocolate.
Instead of carbonite. Yeah. And like, that's sort of... And that was... want to say that was our most recent best one, which means
Yes.
it's actually several tiers down from our best one.
Yes. The original one was is you marry them and then you live a long and happy life and then you'll see them die
Yeah.
at the end of it. And
Which,
the second one is run them over with an ATV.
yeah. And the first one, we got a lot of feedback from that one listener who said, like, it's taking a while, which, like, we warned them it would.
Yeah, it's going to take a lifetime. That's the point.
And also, they said, like, it's just torture for them. I'm like, yes, it's a slow and painful death for both of you.
Yes.
So
that's the key.
Anyway, I hope that is helpful. I guess if we want to give another new one.
Dog bites finger, gets infected.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. And it goes to the bone. Yeah. Okay. That's one way to go.
Suffocate on a banana. You shove a banana down someone's throat and then they can't.
I feel like we are going to run out of ways eventually, so we shouldn't give two per listener. Because, like I said, every week we've been getting this. Anyway, to that listener, thank you for listening.
Push him in a hole. Big hole.
Now for today's medical topic, a complication of diabetes mellitus called diabetic retinopathy. Mismanaged diabetes puts the patients at risk for diabetic retinopathy. In the United States, nearly 25,000 people go blind from diabetes mellitus each year. When it comes to treatment, the only methodology we have for non-proliferative retinopathy is tighter control of glucose. So
you could start cooking for them, and it can be, unhealthy, maybe like high in fats, and then over time they'll die. They'll succumb to that and die.
And that's you're still on the topic of the listener feedback.
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to treatment for diabetic retinopathy,
fish. So a lot of fish will eat people.
The only methodology we have for, as I said, for non-proliferative is tighter control of glucose, but when neovascularization and vitreous hemorrhages are present, it's called proliferative retinopathy, and for that, the first-line treatment is going to be with VEGF inhibitors. That's VEGF inhibitors. And laser photocoagulation is used in those who cannot get the monthly injections into the eye.
You tie one of their arms to a steel pole, and then you tie another one of their arms to a roller coaster cart. And you start the roller coaster cart, it starts going, and it's going to stretch the person like a stretched Armstrong until they sort of.
You said
rip
it's a
in
steel
half.
pole. Is a steel pole in the ground, or is it just free, just around?
I would suggest putting it in the ground, or it doesn't have to be in the ground. It can be in one of those like heavy holder things, like the above ground pole, like steel things you put on the ground. So you don't have to do any necessarily post-hole digging.
Okay. Oh, I see what you mean.
Like an umbrella stand type of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But, maybe like heavier. Or you could hold it yourself. Just know that a roller coaster is going to be stretching your victim in half.
Right. Okay.
So,
So just to reiterate, those eventualities I described in diabetic retinopathy can be avoided if diabetic patients just work on, keeping that blood glucose those levels under control. So, I think we covered both topics pretty thoroughly. Okay.
Yeah, you could if there was if they had like an egg allergy, you could put some eggs in like a cheeseburger they're gonna have or something.
Well, that's gonna be a multi-step because then they have to learn to cook.
No, it's just you could be at McDonald's and you could be like, "Oh, I'm picking up McDonald's," and then you put an egg on it.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess bear that in mind, listener, and hopefully that helps. And I do feel like we're burning through a lot of them. Okay. Cameron, you said that we have a special guest today. Is that right?
That's right, Dr. London. We have a guest who is here for the very first time.
No.
Yes.
So, hello there. My name is Dr. LondonSmith.com. This is our producer, Cameron. What is your name?
Well, to introduce myself, I assume you've heard of the Realm of Chaos before.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I almost got an Airbnb there once, but it was destroyed in this sort of like... It was like in the idea of despair destroyed the Airbnb I was going to stay at. I didn't really understand it.
Oh, yeah, it happens. It's a whole complicated... Well, I'm the king of the Realm of Chaos.
Oh.
My name is Jeff.
Jeff?
It's a common name. in the realm of chaos.
Yeah, that's weird over here. Jeff?
Yeah, I've heard legends of the human realm, but we try to choose different names from the human realm.
Thank you for looking into our realm. So I guess whenever you talk about, normally whenever I hear about realms and kingdoms, I do think of sort of a medieval thing, but this is just a separate. Cameron, you said you were familiar with it, and I get that.
I said I almost booked an Airbnb at it.
Yeah, so I guess one question is, because you're both familiar with it, but I guess, Jeff, you're the king, so you probably know more. What is it? Is it another dimension, or is it?
Well, yeah, it's basically everything chaotic that happens in your universe, in your realm, the Earth realm, comes from my realm, the Chaos realm.
Okay, so you're a heavy exporter. You export a lot
exactly.
of chaos.
You've heard of Charlie Bit My Finger.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Oh, that
I'm
came
glad
from the
baby-
Chaos realm?
Yes, Charlie the baby was actually a lord of chaos.
Oh.
He actually never grows up. You might have seen some fake Charlie Bit My Finger doing the rounds around social media lately.
Yeah, that's
and
all I
that's
watch.
actually
That's a fraud.
it's the same baby.
Oh.
Well, it's okay. So that's your main export, and I guess your most famous export is, of course, Charlie Bit My Finger.
Well,
and
I assume there's other, chaotic people in
No,
history. I mean,
before Charlie Bit My Finger. I'm trying to think of what's more chaotic than that.
I mean, what about like what about David Bowie? Was he not just a chaotic man? Look at all that paint on his face.
Oh yeah, he was my father, the last king of chaos.
Oh,
Wow.
David Bowie was your father. So you're Jeff
Yeah.
Bowie?
Yes, well, we tend to choose our own surnames.
Yeah, that's very presumptuous of you, Cameron.
Yeah, sorry.
It's an entirely new universe and culture.
Yeah, we don't like choosing the same thing as everyone else. It's not very chaotic.
Sure.
Too organized. Yes.
So what is your
okay.
last name then?
Jeff.
Oh,
Okay.
It's Jeff? Or
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
That is pretty chaotic.
That's extremely chaotic. What brings you to the show?
Well, my father, David Bowie, well, he had this rule where to become the Royal Doctor, you have to get into a fight, a battle royale. That's where battle royales came from, our realm,
Okay.
with all the other people who want to be Doctor. And the winner becomes the Royal Doctor. But for the most part, doctors and fighters don't tend to go hand in hand. I heard about your podcast, the Jock Doc.
Is it because of how chaotic it is, or is it because it's so anti-chaotic? It's so organized and orderly.
Well, David thought that it would be pretty boring if we just decided who was best for the job. So he came up with the fight. I wanted to change it, but it's too popular.
Oh,
Sure.
everyone loves it over there, huh?
Yeah.
The podcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, are you thinking
so-
that Dr. London here would make a decent recruit?
I mean, he's a jock, isn't he?
I mean,
See, I knew I could fight. See, Cameron and I have kind of had a running bet and conversation about this. I've told him over and over, I could fight. Just look at my title.
well, and I keep saying throw a punch, and then you say I'm busy.
Yeah.
All afternoon.
And
Today? I can't today.
Yeah. And then you say, meet me at the bike racks at 3 after school. And I say, oh, after school. Oh, I
Oh,
can't.
that's the worst time
can't.
to do it.
So yeah, like any other time I could get into a fight.
And then I say,
by the
well, I
bike
can't do
racks.
this evening. And then you're like, oh, well, that's the one time I can do it.
Oh, I could have done it. Yes. So okay. So I see why you would have a misconception, Cameron. But yeah, I guess doctors are generally we are healers, of course. But I don't know if you guys know the history. We actually got that habit because we would inflict damage. We'd have to heal what we've done.
So you can fight them again.
Oh,
Yeah.
you sound perfect for the Chaos Realm. When can we take you?
Well, okay. See, this is so awkward. You're not the first dimension to ask.
Well, no, the first dimension, it was just a point, right?
Yeah. Well, they were pointing at me, I assumed.
That's what you took it as. Yeah. You saw just a central, almost non-existently small point. And you said, oh,
Yes.
hey, first dimension, you're pointing at me. Sorry.
No, I'm too busy. Yeah. Oh, and yeah. And like, it's like, oh, my calendar's pretty full up. Second dimension, they gave me that line. And then another... Third dimension is the one I've been sticking with so far, and it's actually been super profitable. Not financially profitable, but time-wise, it's occupied a lot of my time. So, it's, I don't know, adding another dimension to it besides the first three, just...
Have you ever been a royal doctor before?
Okay. Let me think. Like in Fortnite...
You wore that crown from like 93 to 96. What was that about?
So I went to Burger King a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
so you got an actual crown made because you know.
Well, I met the guy.
I'm not gonna have this paper one every time.
I met the goldsmith while I was there. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
wow.
I guess this is once again a thing between me and Cameron. I went to Burger King a lot because I was meeting a goldsmith there.
Oh.
For lunch and dinner. And we were just talking up crown stuff, and he would
so
tell me,
you weren't royalty.
Well, I was about to be if I had the purchasing power. That was the main issue.
Oh yeah, we stopped that from up above, I'm afraid.
What? You can't buy royalty anymore?
We stopped you buying. Well, it's a king of burgers. Where do you think it came from? Chaos Realm. If you try to become the Burger King, you're not from the Chaos Realm, so we had to interfere.
Okay, so that was you who prevented me from inheriting his crown?
That was my father, yes.
Okay. Oh, David Bowie again.
Yeah.
Okay. It is getting frustrating how it seems like every time I tried to find success in this stuff, it does seem and I don't want to blame David Bowie for all my problems.
But that's over here too, Dr. London.
Yeah,
he died on the day you released your album, and you were like, okay, so no one's gonna buy my album.
And by the way, guys, it was under my artist name, which our editor is pretty mad about. It's Digital in the House.
Yes.
Look it up on Spotify. It's great stuff. That Round Butt would have been a hit song.
Yes.
But yeah, but of course David Bowie at the same time, and it was like, oh, who did what?
You started telling people you were from space, and then 2 weeks later he was calling himself Ziggy Stardust, and he got all the attention.
Yeah. Well, because he came up with a name for it too. I didn't know you had to do all that.
Yeah, you just were like, I'm from space.
I'm from space. I'm like Gonzo is what I would say.
Yeah.
Remember Muppets from Outer Space?
Yeah.
Or maybe just from space. Point is, yeah, David Bowie's really been messing with me in my life, and I'm actually starting to think this chaos universe may not be it's lost its appeal for me.
If it helps, he messes with everyone. Well, me as well, but my father especially so.
I was just gonna ask, as the King of Chaos, what are your other jobs?
Well, to look for the things that cause the most chaos in your society. I mean,
oh wow,
my dad created Charlie Bit My Finger. I don't think I can beat that. But then again, I did create Gangnam Style.
So
that's pretty
so
chaotic.
All these are examples.
What about?
Yeah, these are the most chaotic.
Yeah.
Things,
What about what does the fox say? Was that you guys?
Everything that was chaotic in your life that you can think of.
I'm sorry, just a tiny thing, and I know it's a flyby subject when it comes to chaos, but war and strife.
war's evil. It's not chaotic.
Oh, okay. So like plagues and like tornadoes and stuff, that's not really your...
No, that's not us. But sporks? Sporks
Oh.
are us.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
So really the only violent thing about your culture is this just battle to the death that the doctors do, right?
Well, yes, for the human realm, our culture is a bit more violent up there, but that's just more, less death and more just fighting all the time.
Oh, it's just a
Well,
never-ending fight?
Yeah, but nobody dies, except the doctors.
Gotcha, okay. Jeff, we actually do a segment at the end of the podcast called The Chore Wheel. Bow, bow, bow. What is the chore wheel? Every single week, Dr. London and I take something from our to-do list and we do it. And we have all these chores that we've been neglecting and we're finally getting around to one. And Jeff, would you go ahead and spin that wheel in the most chaotic way you can think of?
Sure. Wheel has landed on.
Okay, not this one.
We have to give our New Year's resolutions. These are the things that we're pretty sure are not going to happen this year.
Mm-hmm. Which, and I want to say, they can't be your New Year's resolutions because at this point, they may seem like that would fit because you're like, oh, I was going to do this, but we're a few weeks in. But no, you're not allowed.
Nor can it be something that you're sure you're not going to do. You can't be like, I will not eat a vegetable. No, it needs to be, for example, one of mine is, I don't know if I'm going to eat a vegetable this year.
Yeah. So that's one of them, but we can go around. Your resolution, one of yours is you're not going to eat a vegetable.
My ear resolution is I'm not sure that I'm going to eat a vegetable.
Okay. All right. And Jeff, do you have an ear resolution?
Yes, I am not sure if I'm going to destroy the whole human realm this year or not.
Oh, my realm. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I like it when people are indecisive about that. Let's see. For me, I'm not sure whether I will go bobbing for apples this year.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and that's tough for you because you're usually pretty committed to bobbing for apples.
Yeah, well, it's just, you go on your fishing trip with your family and they all go for apples. You go scoop out the water and put some apples in it. They fish, you bob. And that's usually how our trips go. But this year I was thinking of trying fishing instead.
Oh, wow. Fishing for apples?
Your bobbing for apples was one of the main reasons we considered you for Royal Doctor.
Honestly, I suspected as much because, of course, apple a day keeps the doctor away. It would have acted as natural repellent. And I get that. But no, I ultimately, this year, I'm going to irresolute, Because
you're going to fish for apples instead.
I might.
Yeah.
I might still go, but I'm not sure, you know.
Well, I think we did it then.
Yeah, we got it. All right, so
chore done. Cross it off the list.
Wow. All right. Okay. Now, Jeff, King of Chaos. Would you do you have anything you'd like to promote, or any friends that you'd like to promote their stuff?
Oh well, the only thing I have this great friend from the human realm. He has a very small YouTube channel. It's called Mujtaba Comedy. So that's MUJIE''S comedy.
All right. Does he have any social media with that, or it's just the channel?
Oh, the main thing he posts stuff on is his YouTube channel.
Sweet.
Which he hasn't posted on in a long time.
Yeah. Well,
which is one of
pretty irresolute.
It's one of the reasons we appreciate him up there.
Right. All right. So do check that out. Thank you to our guest, King of Chaos, Jeff. Thank you to our producer, Cameron. Thank you to Did You Know in the House?
You heard of Charlie Bit My Finger? Charlie Bit My Finger. Charlie Bit My Finger.
Charlie Bit My Finger. My name is Dr. LemonSmith.com, and this has been the Jock Doc Podcast.
See ya.
Charlie Bit My Finger. Charlie Bit My Finger.